Hello everybody, Jose Rodriguez here. We're getting close to Christmas. I hope everybody has been good this year. We're going to talk about Canon printers, the never-ending story, cleaning cycles. Why do they occur? Okay, why are they so unpredictable? And again, I have not been able to figure out the actual ABCD routine that the printer chooses to go through. It seems to be dependent on the model and the circumstances. So let's just pick the Pro-1000 for instance. If I don't use this printer for a few days and I send a print job, it will be preceded by a cleaning cycle. And that's a preventative process to assure me, the user, that I will not have any missing nozzles. In other words, all my nozzles that are available will be firing. And that's, of course, if I've only waited a couple of days. Now, we used to think that this was a strict schedule, like every so many hours, 60, 120, 240, 480. Well, that may have been the case early on, back in the days of something like the 9500 Mark II. Those seem to be a timed system. And of course, if you printed something according to the service manual before that trigger point, you would not need a cleaning cycle. Well, that's not the case. They stopped that. You will have a cleaning cycle regardless of whether you've been printing religiously between those hourly time frames. You will get a cleaning cycle. It doesn't really matter anymore. So you might say, oh, well, then I just won't print. Oh, please don't do that, because the cleaning cycle can, depending on the size of it, and that's determined by how long you waited before you printed something, may be much larger than the ink that you actually used to print something. You see what I mean? So your ratio of ink being used to clean your print head and ink being used to put on paper will be very, very lopsided. Maybe 5-to-1 against you, okay? And if you're using OEM cartridges with original inks, boy, that's a lot of money down the drain. Okay, that was unnecessary. So the idea is, since you're going to waste, I'll use the term waste, but it's really used to maintain your printer. Since you're going to be maintaining your printer regardless, why not just print lots of prints? Oh, that'll cost me money. Indeed it will. But I hope you're selling your prints to generate money to then counteract that cost. That's what this is all about. This is not for you to have fun with unless you can afford it, okay? Fun expenses can really, I can't afford that. So I need to produce more prints using more ink than the cleaning cycles will use when they do get triggered. Now, another possibility for triggering cleaning cycles is that Canon printers utilize thermal print head technology, just like every other printer out there except EPSON and Ricoh. They use a cold firing print head, which again simply squeezes the droplets of ink out using that piezo crystal. Canon printers and Lexmark printers and HP printers and Brother and just about every other inkjet printer out there uses thermal print head technology. And what that means is that every droplet is heated to the boiling point and it gets exploded out. And that generates heat, which hopefully the ink acting as a coolant can control and maintain that print head at the correct operating temperature. So what happens? Why is this detrimental? Well, think about a frying pan that you use every morning to fry your morning eggs and bacon. If you don't wash that pan out, clean it, you will have residue from the bacon, fat from the butter that you use for your egg, and bits of white get all burnt and whatever. You got to clean that. Well, residue is actually produced during the printing process. And if you print a lot, it's going to trigger a cleaning cycle. It will do it without asking you because it needs to do it. It will sense at what point do I have too much buildup that I need to flush out, because this man or this woman has been printing on me all morning long. producing big prints. That's the case. So images that have lots of density will then require a more frequent flushing of that residue. So say you're making a batch of 30 numbered prints and they're all very dark key. Yeah, maybe every 4 or 5 prints it will run a cleaning cycle, a flushing, if you will, of the printhead. And it will be then cleaned off, it will be happy, and it will continue to print until it builds up just enough residue to trigger the next cleaning. If you're printing a very light key type or high key type images, maybe you can get away with maybe every 10th or 11th or 12th print. Examples: high key, low key. So the low key, if I'm printing say 50 of these, I will generate several cleaning cycles, more with the dark print than I will with the lighter print. And again, this is just a necessity that needs to be performed to keep that system cleaned, all that heat that you're generating. In fact, I would wait and give it a rest every 10th print or so, because printing in such high quantities generates a lot of heat, and you need to maintain that correct printhead temperature. Otherwise, you may increase the possibility of damaging it prematurely. In other words, nozzles will start kind of burning up. There's a secret on high-end printers like these. There are redundant nozzles that are not used in the beginning, but are going to be brought into service seamlessly as you print. When one burns out, one gets brought in. You'll never know it. It doesn't tell you, hey, I just replaced one of your burnt out nozzles with a redundant one that you hadn't used yet. No, I won't say that, so you don't even notice it. At some point, the printhead is gone because you used up all the backup nozzles in that particular channel. That's it. It doesn't matter whether the other channels still have nozzles or not. That's the end of that printhead. You have to replace it. On the average, a large formats like a 64-inch floor unit Canon printer, you will go through 2 printheads every 2 or 3 years, and they'll set you back about $550, $600 a piece. So that is just part of the system. That's part of the system. The printheads are made replaceable for that very reason, because they are being used up, worn down as you are printing, okay? It's not something that will last you forever. So cleaning cycles will occur on a time frame, of course. So many days without use, you will get a cleaning cycle. While you are printing, you develop residue, you will get a cleaning cycle. After every single print that you don't have a following print job, within 30 seconds, it will run a very short cleaning cycle, okay? And that is used to make sure that the printhead is primed. For say 3 minutes later, you load up another image and you're gonna print it. It will print immediately, so it needs to reprime that printhead, okay? So many reasons why the printhead has to be either primed, flushed, or cleaned, okay? Now, one of my viewers has reported that he has had really good results with the Pro-1000 printing before 24 hours. And he's been doing this religiously. To me, that would be, say I get up at 7 and then I print something at 6 o'clock tonight, and then maybe tomorrow at 7. That's still not 24 hours. You see what I mean? You would have to figure out a schedule that keeps you within that 24-hour window. He says it works. I have never tried that, but I'm willing to give it a shot and see what happens. So anyway, that is it. Just be aware that these printers will self-maintain themselves, regardless of yours and mine habits, okay, of not printing. And think about this. If you do not print, that cleaning cycle that comes next, you think that if you just don't print, it's okay. Next time you print, that cleaning cycle will waste more ink than you will put down on that paper, okay? Maybe 3 to 4 times more ink. So why do that? Use your printer, print lots of images regularly. That's what the printer was for. Not for you to just look at it and tell it, I love you, honey, like I do, okay? I have a vast number of printers here that I got to maintain and keep happy. So for me, it's a very difficult task. But if you just have one printer, it should not be a huge job for you. Line up your images every week, print regularly. That way you put more ink on paper than you do on the waste ink receptacle. Okay, that produces nothing. This is what you want to do, prints. Okay, so that is it for now. I appreciate all your support. This year has been fantastic for the channel. We're going to hit probably 39,000 before the end of the year. 39,000 subscribers, which is awesome. Facebook group is also doing very well. Lots of interactivity from all of the members. I very seldom have to stick my head in there and, correct something that has been erroneously suggested. But I try to stay away from it as much as I can. And you guys kind of self-police each other extremely well. Just yesterday, finally, I got the inks for the XP 15000. We're going to do a video specific to that. Now, this thing got lost in Niagara Falls, New York. It showed up and it finally made it to me. But meanwhile, Mike has sent me another set of refilling inks and all of the paraphernalia that you need for the XP 15000. Now, we're going to discuss all of that. Don't worry about it in the next video. So we're going to do the refilling process, and we're going to be discussing all of the aspects of this fantastic printer that the EPSON XP 15000 is. So be ready to watch that. It should be in the next couple of days. I will post it, and it should be quite entertaining and informative. And again, to me, this is going to be the perfect printer for the upcoming year. Take that to the bank. All right. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. And of course, as always, happy printing, everybody, and Merry Christmas. Bye-bye, everyone.